Do you get what I mean?
I kind of want to know that this sounds so messed up, yeah, but I kind of want to know what Erykah Badu smells like.
What? I'm in a spiritual war, and there's life and death out here. What you think, man? I'm training for. I'm a soldier, so I stay strapped with the words, stand firm and tall. Cause these damn devils ain't resting for your soul. Your soul. Say what? I'm in a spiritual war, and there's life and death out here. What you think, man? I'm praying for. I'm a soldier, so I stay strapped with the words, stand firm and tall.
Obviously, episode 7 now, I believe. Is it episode 7? I think. I believe it's episode 7. But yeah, today it's the first one back. It's the first one back since 2019, yeah. So yeah, we got a special guest with us today. I'll let you introduce yourself.
So, yeah, I'm Alima.
So yeah.
Also known as Affiejam, and yeah.
But yeah, this girl, yeah, is multi-talented, to say that. Multi-talented.
I promise, like,
To say the least, so.
You gassing me?
I have to, because if you don't gas yourself, who else is gonna do it?
It's true.
But go into the first kind of creative interest you had as a youth there. Whether it was skateboarding, or whether it was music first, or whether it was...
So, like, before everything, I used to go to stage school as a kid, which is like acting, singing and dancing, and I excelled in dancing and wasn't good at singing or acting, and I really liked dancing because it allowed you to express yourself without having to actually like engage with people like this. So like dancing was like the first thing that I was ever into, but it's very money based. Like you need to have money to go to classes and stuff. So yeah, like the other thing I would say that was like parallel was illustration, and then I got into writing, and then the writing then goes into music. So yeah, I would say
from a school perspective, yeah, I'm thinking obviously you've got outside of school and what you're doing creatively there, but within the school system, I always find this interesting with how people got on with the school system as far as their interests.
Yeah, I mean, there was this workshop that they put on at my primary school, like if you wanted to learn instruments, and I really wanted to learn piano, just for fun, and they chose who got to go on the little workshop thing. So everyone gave their interest, and then like they chose, and the people who they chose were like the uppity ones or the ones that were like really good in class. So it was like, even if you wanted to like express that interest, it didn't mean that you could actually then go and do it, which was really annoying. And I'm gonna say this because like it was years ago, but I took a keyboard from school and brought it home and started like practicing how to like play songs that I really liked. And then my dad was like, "Where did you get that from?" And I was like, "Oh, what's that? It's that keyboard."
See, me personally, I don't see that as a bad thing, you know.
No, it's not a bad thing. I gave the keyboard back, and then my dad bought me a keyboard. But like it definitely didn't come from school. Like none of my interests and stuff were really cultivated in school. It's definitely outside.
See, I remember, I guess this is more later on in the high school, in the school system in general. But my strengths were always specifically literature.
Okay.
And that was the only subject that I remember in high school that I would really excel in without having to, I don't want to sound big-headed and say I didn't have to try, but you know what I mean?
No, I hear that. That's like me in science. Like I didn't really have to fight because it was so interesting. Like it would just stick. I'd make stories, and the stories would like make me remember stuff easily. But yeah, I hear that.
So I think that it was like, I think there's another factor involved though. It's like the interest that you kind of develop, especially within the school system, as opposed to outside of it, is heavily dependent on the teachers that give you that sense of not sense of comfort, but sense of belief.
No,
I think
definitely
more so
agreed.
belief of like, okay, you've got this talent. Let me nurture this as a teacher within the school environment for you to actually want to do this, and also just believe in yourself in general.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Because I think that played into a factor of literature being my strong point as well. Because I feel like English-wise, I was never a kid like, I was not a perfect high school kid or school kid in general. Never. I was always that class clown. I would just goof around and get. If I can make someone laugh, yeah, that would make my day more than any other thing in the school environment. It was like, okay, I'm getting happiness from these men laughing. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? By me making you laugh, that's making me happy type thing.
I think
So that was
we're
my whole like.
similar in that respect, but like again, mine was off the back of anxiety, and like I always felt like if I make others laugh, then they're not laughing at me, they're laughing like at my jokes. So like if you're laughing at my jokes and stuff, I'm like, yeah, these guys are all having a good time, so like it's all cool. But yeah, I hear that on a spiritual level, definitely.
You know them ones where you just say a comment, yeah, and the teachers run not expecting it, and you put your hand up, you think you're gonna answer like a question, you just say some dumb shit, and the whole class is like.
No, but yeah, you were saying that like you weren't that good in school, you were naughty, but
Yeah, I was trying not to bait myself out like that, but I was one of the kids that. Yeah. It was more so, yeah, if a teacher said something that I didn't agree with, that's when I would make my stand.
okay.
More so, like, if it was fundamental. Like, there was certain... I was always that kid. I was saying this to someone the other day. One kid over next side of the class could be doing the exact same thing that I've just done, but I would always be the one that would be the one that, get out of the class. You know what I mean?
Maybe he was an easy target to make an example of.
I think that's what it was.
Because in secondary school, I definitely was. I was the only black person in my year in secondary school. And you know what? Okay, story time. I'll never forget, yeah. We was all like facing the board. It was in like a food tech thing. And I was right at the front. And the teacher was on the board, like literally, this close. And my bedrooms were laughing in the back. I'm thinking, why are they laughing? Like, what's so funny? Turn around. And then they're just like looking at the teacher. I'm thinking, what's going on? Then the teacher quickly turns around. She's like, Alima, get out. I'm just like, because it was my friends that were laughing. She thought I made my friends laugh. Right. Turns out they were laughing at her armpit hair because it was grey, black, and ginger. I didn't find that out until the end of the class.
How does that work? 3 colours?
Huh?
Yeah, how does that work?
Let me know. When you find out, let me know. But it's like, I would always be like told to get out or told that I'm talking too loud. And it's just like, I know all you can see is a brown face, but yeah, keep it moving.
So,
Builds character, sorry.
I want to go back to seeing as we're going, throwing it back here with the high school days. I'm going to go back to...
And I thought you was talking about primary school. Okay, in
primary
secondary
school and high school.
Okay, yeah. In secondary school, by then, like, music was definitely the main thing that I was doing. And illustration, because I did, like, art in school and then graphic design at college. So, yeah, those were the 2 main things. But they're free, innit? As long as you got your hands, you can do it. Yeah, sorry. Okay, cool. Throwing it back.
No. I was just thinking, yeah, you got me thinking about kind of seeing as we're going back there, thinking about the relationship with, or what relationship you had with hair back then, and kind of, yeah, how you were brought up to see your own hair, but also other people's hair.
I think, like, I'm generally kind of lucky. No, that's a lie.
So for reference, yeah, because this girl doesn't really want to like plug herself currently right now. Talk to me about like what you do regarding hair in the present, because I know this, but I want these guys to know this.
Oh, so I'm a protective hairstylist, and like, yeah, basically braids, locks, twists and stuff. It's a business called Mxhair, or Mxhair, and it's a gender. I like promote it as a gender neutral space because like I want anyone to feel comfortable with like the style that they choose. So like if you want to get pink braids but you're a boy, like just come and get it, like I'll do it. But yeah, I want to like also push creativity and like step in out of, oh, what will people think if I get this color, will it match me? Like everything can bang on you, do you know what I mean? It's like how you rock it.
Right,
and you don't need to like be forced to do anything. But yeah, I just like try and create like a really comfortable space. But I'm basically a protective hairstylist, so come and get your braids.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like when I was a kid and stuff, like my dad has locks. My mom used to like get braids and stuff depending on if she was at work, but like she just would have her hair out. And out of me and my sisters, like I had the thickest hair. So like there was a time when my mum texturized my hair, but this was kind of later on. And then at like 15, I didn't put any chemicals in my hair, grew it out a bit, and then cut all my hair off at 18. And then yeah, went natural, then shaved my sides like 5 years ago maybe. And so like for me, like I've done lots of things with my hair, but like for me as a person, the whole being super pretty and like always tending to my hair and like fixing it, like I've never found that within myself. Like I can't be arsed. That's literally what it is. I cannot be arsed.
I think especially when it comes to hairstyles, I think there should be a lot of the hairstyle that you have day to day should be manageable.
Yeah.
I know people will say different, but something like you say is protective, and a lot of the time the protective styles are the most manageable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, my relationship with hair, it's a weird one. I think naturally being mixed, it just causes that.
Yeah.
Already.
It's hectic because there isn't like really. I mean, there is no benchmark when it comes to hair. Like everyone's hair is different, but I just feel like there's way more variation in mixed hair than there is in just like when it's like one ethnicity.
Especially when you got longer hair as well. Like even when I used to have longer hair, like you got the whole thing of like shrinkage and shit like that. Like
Mate,
because
I
it's
get
weird.
75% shrinkage. My hair looks like carpet.
See my.
That could be carpet length, literally. And people are like, oh my god, did you cut your hair? I'm like, nah, B, that stuff's in my scalp, basically in my scalp.
You were that girl that they put like pencils in your hair and shit, you know?
Oh my gosh, one time when I was at work, like I got home and I found like food in the middle of my bun. Guys, when I worked in Cheltenham, if anyone's like listening to this who worked in Cheltenham with me at the same time, but yeah, Cheltenham, they put food in my hair.
They were just like shooting food into your...
Yeah, like every time I come into the kitchen, like they made it into a little game to like pop it in. It's actually mad. Sorry, I was also gonna say, with regards to hair and like my relationship, like my family and stuff, like when I cut off my hair, for example, and went natural, they would say like comments and stuff, but by that point, I'd already developed like who I was as a person with regards to like how I see my hair and like what I want to do with my hair. So like those comments didn't really faze me, and I never really internalized it because around me everyone had different hair. But like a lot of my family members will like look at my hair and think like it's not finished. Like when my natural hair's out, for example, and I get it and I accept it, and it doesn't really affect me that much. But I do also sometimes feel insecure because like that's what society does. If your hair doesn't look a certain way, or like feel a certain way or drop a certain way, you will feel some type of way. Do you know what I mean? But I try not to let it faze me in that.
I was having a conversation the other day with someone, and she's mixed as well, and we were talking about the perception of your identity. I feel like the common thing, obviously, the common thing with I think mixed race people is that you often have like identity crises based off how people perceive you because of your physicality.
Definitely.
So it's more so like, back when I had braids, people automatically be like, he's defo got black in him or whatever, or something like that. Whereas like if you have a different style, like for example when my hair's short, my hair's like got less of a curl. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like the perception of you through others is on the surface level like shifted a lot depending on
Agreed.
the hairstyle.
Because I'm gonna just use being moved to. The type of men that move to me changes depending on my hairstyle. Like
the same
certain guys will never approach me in braids, you know. But the moment I slap on that straight middle part wig, they're like, she's nice. And then when I put in the twist, it's Empress. Do you know what I mean? Like, definitely agreed. But like when it's the hair that grows at your head, it's mad.
I'm hearing mad stories, you know. People on Depop, messaging girls supposedly about items that they're selling clothing to, and they're just using it as an excuse to say, you're a Nubian queen, blah blah blah. Like nothing relating to the items that on Depop.
Before you go on Instagram, that's literally what Instagram's for.
But man are that desperate, they're using Depop as an excuse to
be like, at least I know she's business oriented.
Nah, but some Depop is even. Man, we see Depop, some Depop's though. Shit. Some girl on there, bro, and I'm like, why are you doing it? And I'm giving some man, I'm like, bruh. Don't know, but have you been to the gym showers? It's the same thing, the gym changing room.
the what?
Yeah. That's what Depop is like, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's there for a reason, but people are there for something else.
I definitely feel like that's more of a thing in the men's.
But you know what I mean? Because man, them both like the change room. Swoosh!
Swanging.
It's the
You know what I mean?
fam, the worst ones is the old. Okay, so in the male changing rooms, you always get these old geezers, fam, and I call them geezers because that's
It's
the
like
kind of
they'll
thing
lift up their
they fit into.
bollocks to clean under.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll get the talcum powder and start.
That's what I mean.
If you don't do this,
Dead
lads.
in the eyes while their things flopping about.
Looking like a titan.
Yo, I wanna fast forward back to the present. So just your reflections, on just the year that's just passed, 2019. That feels like a 20. Yo, saying 2019 now, it feels strange because 2020 was such a, at least in my head, it was such a like a futuristic sounding thing.
Yeah.
It was like, rah, that's what we're going into. And now that we're in it, it's like, rah, 2019. Oh shit.
I mean, the last time I felt like this was in 2000, when everyone thought the world was going to end, and church on New Year's Eve, it was absolutely heaving because everyone was like, yo, let me get right with God. Next day, we blink, the world's not over. So yeah, but now we're here. You're right. Because for the whole of January, it's definitely still right in 2019. At the end of dates, definitely.
You used to have them like 70s, 60s future sci-fi films, and they used to I swear they've mentioned like 2020 as a date in those films, that they were like, 2020 we're gonna fly in cars.
But we're here.
But we're here.
We've just about got hoverboard.
We've got Tesla. That's the closest we've got to real innovation. Nah. Respect to Elon Musk though. Like he's doing bits.
Yeah, definitely.
I wasn't even planning, but I might just ask you, what do you think to would you be a car girl if you were driving? Do you think you would be into whips?
Not really.
Because the reason I ask you is just because I know you did that. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did like a campaign for uni. Was it a uni campaign? Something to do with boarding. I saw bare like pro pics of like you and some other girls.
Oh.
It seemed like a campaign.
Was it at? This isn't the. Wait, I was at uni.
I feel like it was for uni, like for a uni campaign. Or something
Because we've done like a few different things. So like, oh, do you mean when we was raising money?
Possibly. Expand.
Okay, so I'm in Borders Without Borders.
That's it. That's the
Okay,
thing.
Borders Without Borders is an initiative set up by Girl Dreamer, and it's about getting women of colour into adventure sports. So there's like longboarding, the surfing happened last year, and snowboarding will be happening this year. But yeah, with Borders Without Borders, like I'm one of, I would say I'm one of the coaches. So last year we taught a cohort of women with an X, how to board. But yeah, it is about like getting women of color into sport and like breaking down those stereotypes that everyone knows culturally. If you're brown, like your parents probably aren't going to be pushing you to do sports because they think you're going to mash up yourself and you need to be ready for your husband and all of that kind of malarkey. And then also the fact that those spaces are dominated by white men. So it's like it's two sides of the same coin. And yeah, so when people see me, they're like, "Oh my God, you're a girl on a board. Like, how can I get involved?" And that's the fantastic thing about it. But the reason why I was confused is because we did like this this workshop about like sport and mental health at Aston Uni for 16 and 17-year-olds, which was interesting actually.
Was it documented or was it just like a live? Live, no cameras type thing?
No cameras. I mean, there's pictures of us at the event, but like, yeah, it wasn't like filmed or anything because safeguarding and stuff. It was like a bunch of schools came.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I thought he was on. Did you see the NatWest ad?
The NatWest thing. Oh, what? How recent?
It came out near the end of December.
I don't think I did, you know.
That's alright. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
DM. Yeah.
I saw they did this coverage of Bromf and NatWest a while back. It was still 2019, but it was something to do with the heritage of like like mining and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And it was like basically I don't even know.
Industrial Revolution. But yeah, nah. This one, just like, why do we care? Why do we support women of colour? Because they matter. Of course we matter, but you know.
It's one of them where you feel like, they could have delivered that better because you're just stating the obvious or what everyone.
Basically, waiting for the rest of the world to catch up with that notion.
That's a good point, you know. That's a very good point. Because I was thinking a couple of weeks ago about how these are all mad conversations. I end up having some mad conversation over the phone. I don't know why. It's always on the phone where I have some crazy conversation.
Yeah, and you're walking over the ceiling because you're really into it.
Yeah. You know when you're pacing in your yard back and forth for no reason.
How you say?
Touch on the ledge, like. But yeah, so I was talking about, just certain things that a small minority are aware about, but as a society, like globally type thing, or just like nationally, like there's certain times where people just aren't ready for that shift.
Oh, definitely not.
And it's like, as much as we can try to push it, sometimes it's not gonna happen. It'd rather just be like that sometimes. You can't force it on a society that can't digest it yet.
And like, societal changes happen across generations. They're rarely going to happen within a generation. I mean, the fact that like people who like still believe, you know what, it's long. When we think about racist grandparents, like they're still here. As much as like there's progressive people in the world, those people are still here. And so like it takes generations dying out for things to be learned. But like basically I do psychology. Like psychology is the main thing in my life. And like the human mind favors familiarity. Like this is just something that I always have to remind myself. And it's like, even if something's right, if you don't practice that right thing, you're going to end up just doing the thing that you're comfortable with. Right. So yeah, when you're bringing up all these taboo topics about black people are actually real, or like gay people are real, it's like to some people, like they actually can't fathom that. Like it's actual cognitive dissonance. Like they're like, that can't be true, that can't be real, it can't be right, because in my day, it wasn't right. Do you know what I mean? And because my day, people are still alive. Like, it's gonna, like, be harder, but just have to wait for them to dead off.
Do you know what it is? I think people get trapped here. This is a whole different thing, I guess, but I'm gonna touch on it real quick. Comfort is like, I swear I just tweeted about this the other day, but comfort's a dangerous drug.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
how I see it.
Definitely.
It's a trap as well. Like,
you can comfort yourself right into obesity, comfort yourself right into hospital, like comfort yourself into the grave.
That's why I say like I always say to people, and I say get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think naturally it just helps anxiety. Like,
Oh,
I
definitely.
know a lot of people that have had anxiety-based situations a lot worse than me.
Mhm.
But I think for anyone, doesn't matter what level of anxiety, I think everyone low-key experiences some level of anxiety
Mhm.
throughout just life. But it's like having that kind of mentality of, okay, I need to get comfortable being uncomfortable
Mhm.
can help anyone. I think it's like applicable to anyone.
Definitely. So okay. Yeah. No. Basically, I agree because like everyone like has the capacity to feel anxious. But like, I guess when it comes to anxiety disorders and stuff, like that's when that can be a bit difficult. But yeah, like I have really bad social anxiety, and I joined like different performance groups, and then also was like forcing myself to gig to try and like get used to people. But that's when I realized like I had like an anxiety disorder. But it definitely helps by like facing the thing that scares me for it to like actually get better. And like I always felt uncomfortable on stage, but then when I took the time out away from stage, I was able to analyze and work out what was making me uncomfortable or what was making me comfortable. And like now when I'm on stage, it feels better, can make better decisions. So yeah, definitely you have to go through that period of time when you just feel like ass, like actual ass.
I feel, you know what it is as well? It's like the whole concept of being uncomfortable, it keeps you wanting to surpass. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
until it becomes comfortable, like
Yeah.
literally.
And then you find the next uncomfortable
Yeah.
level, you know what I mean? And then you surpass that. That's growth, isn't it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Essentially.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we have a segment that we like to call Wheel Up. So it's where we basically focus, we show our guest our favourite music of the month and see what you're thinking on it, man.
Okay.
So
This
it's
is
by,
exciting.
I'm getting way too close to my, it's by an artist called Kadiata. I think I'm saying his name right, or Kadiata, but he's part Portuguese, I believe, so.
Free. All these finesses, moving aggressive. I'm moving anti, love is in the air. You know that I got my vaccine, cause I ain't prepared for the heartbreak and the fancy shit. Man got took to the inferno once I'm mad deep shit. Bitch, you got it twisted, now I'ma keep my distance. I'ma keep on beating things, at least it be consistent. I'ma keep it on the low next time I get a next gem. They ain't got a clue if they should look at me or look at them other couples. Fuck that shit, I'ma spend 10 on a brothel. At least they might spit some respect on my hustle. At least they might give me some neck as they chuckle. At least they might say he ain't rap and let me live, man.
But yeah, that was Kadiata or Kadaita, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Was that Kadiata tune?
Yeah.
See, I love how
But that
you
was
just said it
under.
in a Birmingham accent. I do it Kadiata, man.
Straight up. I'm gonna just say it in my normal voice. I'm not gonna say it in a Portuguese accent. But
Yeah, that was nice. I wasn't expecting him to have a British accent though. Like, as in, I wasn't expecting a British accent on the track. But it's very nice. I like the contrast.
I think what's important about artists these days as well is that you have a personality that's shown along with the music, and I think he's like a good example because he's a funny guy. If you follow him on socials, he's jokes, he's funny.
I like that. I really do. Because for a long time, I never used to follow any of the people who like I appreciated their music online just in case they were trash. But I've learnt to compartmentalize that stuff now, so it's cool. But that's nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I want to go like
Under.
into
This actual song is called Under.
under yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So I want to go into like music influences, and so it doesn't have to be musical people that have influenced you to do music, but just influences that have wanted you to make musical sonics.
A lot
From
of
your voice.
things. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off by saying, when you live life so organically, people think it's orchestrated. That's like something. I have never like woken up and been like, yeah, I want to do music. Like, in my head, I'm just like, if I can do it, why shouldn't I do it? So I used to write as a kid, and then as I got older, my writing developed. I'd write a few poems here, a few stories, and then that whole piano situation, taking the piano, learning songs, learn how to play piano. I was like, whoa, put the writing and piano together, you've got songs. I wrote like a book of songs for choirs, just for banter, and then sang it one day, and then everyone was like, oh my gosh, you should gig. That's how my music life went. So like for me, it's just about expressing emotions, like a form of catharsis. I make the music that I want to listen to, so it's just like, it's also
important.
self-serving. So, yeah, I just make music because I can. That's like literally the only way I can put it. And like in terms of like what influences me and stuff, life experiences. Life experiences are sick. To write about them, like you've got an endless supply of things to write about. So just write about those. And like, I also like to write about mental states as like a thing. So like insomnia or imposter syndrome or anxiety, but like describe it as a thing. So yeah, I don't know. I just do it because I like it and can do it, which can sound a bit flippant and a bit like, oh, she thinks she's sick. I don't. That's why I stay in my yard. So
I hear it still.
yeah.
So we have a segment that we like to call Hot Topic. So it's where we draw something out of the news that we feel is relevant to discuss, expand on a little bit, and see how you feel on it. So this, I'm debating it, you know. I'm gonna say this week, yeah. Hot Topic is Erykah Badu, right? And her saying that she's releasing, supposedly she's releasing a vaginal fragrance, right?
Okay, so two things. It's an incense, yeah.
Oh, it's an incense.
Yeah, it's
so
not
you
a
know
perfume.
more than me.
And it's been released and it's sold out.
What did that
Yeah.
sold out already?
Yeah. So when I first saw this, I thought it was a perfume, and I was like, that's a bit hectic. But when I found out it was an incense, I was like, that fits with her
Made more sense.
brand. And then like when she spoke about like her reasoning, it's like you can choose to buy into that if you want to. Celebrities are always like dashing out fragrances, and Gwyneth Paltrow, she made a vagina smelling candle. I don't remember when. It's like probably last year. That bit threw me as well. But it's like people buy into the hype / the brand or whatever. Like I don't know what's going on. Do you get what I mean?
This is why we're asking. This is why we're posing this question.
No, I
because
just look at it and I'm like,
I don't
Erykah
really have an
Badu's
opinion on-
doing what she's doing, and like I don't have to buy it. Do you get what I
I
mean?
kind of want to know that this sounds so messed up, but I
Yeah.
kind of want to know what Erykah Badu smells like.
Exactly, and that's the reason why it's sold out. and that's the thing, like when you think of like fragrances and stuff, like no one's really buying celebrity fragrances, but an incense that smells like your vagina, whoa! Even if I don't like it, it's sold
The
out.
thing is, to be commercialized that much,
Yeah.
surely it can't smell that bad. Like, surely not.
Nah,
It can't
I mean,
be like.
she says she burnt her pants, so like incense half smells like a burning bush anyway. So
But
yeah, it's an
from a girl's
interesting one.
perspective, whether you want to dive into this or not, it's like, would you really think most girls would be able to do that? Say if they literally got, well, I don't know, burn their pants or something. Most girls wouldn't be smelling nice. I don't think. I want to say
mean-
most girls because
Okay, this is a wild topic in it because like I think it's just gonna like it's gonna keep going
Keep
and
it
going
raw,
and
man.
going and going. But like okay, there's loads of things to cover. A, feminine hygiene and how we were taught about that. B, a lot of that is wrong, misconceptions. So a lot of us like are practicing things that we think is right, that isn't right, and that's what like leads to them kind of things. I can't like comment on like what other girls are doing in it. Can
from what
only
you've
like
seen, I
talk
guess.
about myself. I
Or
mean,
from stories?
there's also the other thing of like, do you want everyone to know what you smell like? No, does it matter?
Exactly.
Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't. It's such a weird.
It's a strange one. Yeah, it's a strange one.
Cause like, yeah, there's so many things to cover, and I don't think it can be done today. But I would definitely say like,
I'm around it like this. I'm around it off like this. I think Erykah Badu is one of the only women that can do that and be successful with it.
get away with
And
it.
get away.
Yeah, because they're no,
essentially.
yeah. Even though she's successful with it, like, get away with it because like, all of us in this room don't know how it smells. Do you get what I mean? Like none of us do. You do. Yeah.
Might be soon. So, yeah. So I was thinking as well. Just briefly touch on, obviously, naturally being. I think you're what. The second. Yeah, the second female that we've had on the podcast, and obviously I've not really thought about stats like that, but I want to make sure that we just get just a variety of people. And I think naturally I wanted to in my head touch on like femininity and your stance on kind of how you would say you defy the typical like female type thing.
Yeah, like.
So I know what you're thinking. Why have you paused the episode? We ran into some technical difficulties regarding the visuals, so just sit back, relax, and watch some clean cinematic drone shots for the rest of the episode. Enjoy.
I think a lot of
How
it
you
is
dealt
off
with
the back of trauma, I'm not gonna lie. This isn't triggering, by the way, but like, okay, we're gonna do story time, and it's story time. Okay,
Break it
cool.
down.
So when I was 7, I was at church in Sunday school, and these boys were like laughing behind me, and I could sense that they were laughing at me, but I didn't know what about. And then like later on in the day, there was like, "Oh, Alima, you're anorexic," and like obviously at 7, I didn't understand that anorexia was a mental health condition. I just thought it meant that you were underweight. So then like for ages, I had a really distorted self-image, and I felt like I wasn't womanly. So I would dress for comfort and comfort only. I would do things.
Cool.
You paused it.
Yeah, why not? Let's give her space.
Do I have to close my mouth?
Now you can keep talking. Go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I used to dress for comfort. I used to just do whatever I wanted. And like, I was like the typical tomboy. I'd wear clothes because they were my favorite, not because they were clean or pretty or whatever. So then like, as I grew older and like realized that was really linked to like my insecurities, like I kind of would force myself to wear like more womanly stuff to kind of like explore that. And then I realized it doesn't match my personality anyway.
Right.
So I think because I'm really unapologetically myself, like everything else comes after. Like if I'm cold, why am I wearing a miniskirt to the club? Do you get what I mean? It's like, it's really as basic as that.
That's the thing.
And I think
like,
that defies like typical femininity.
because being like, especially when you talk about the clothing element of your female identity, I think being into like clothing myself, I always think with practicality. Like what you were saying, like you would never go out in a miniskirt if it's cold out, because you're gonna be freezing your ass off type thing.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think practicality is like a key thing in just clothing in general is like an extension of your identity already. You know what I mean? So if it's not matching as an extension of you, then gotta start thinking a bit different. Just think, oh wait a minute, let me just take 2 steps back. Why am I wearing this type thing if it's not really representing me?
And this is like the biggest difference between like trends and styles. Like people will bang trends that they don't even like just because it's a trend, and it's just like that is just a thing that a lot of people do. So like it's kind of weird when someone has a style and it's theirs unapologetically theirs. You're just like, oh, how did that come about? And it's just like, I'm just being me kind of thing. I was gonna say as well, like, again, off like the back of trauma and stuff, like even interests and like what you're interested in feeds into that as well. So like for me and my anxiety, it's why I do a lot of things that I can do on my own, and that sometimes means boarding. Do you know what I mean? Which is like kind of weird, not what everyone's doing in like my peer group, but yeah, again, when you live life so organically, it seems orchestrated. Like a lot of who I am is just here because like that's how life made it, not because like I woke up one day and was like, yeah, I want to totally be this rad person. Just am.
Can I ask a question? Do you ever feel like pressure to kind of like be like all the way? Do you get what I mean? Like, do you ever feel pressure to not be as organic and kind of like, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes like I'll kind of feel like maybe I'm doing too much and like maybe I should just simplify shit and just like get a normal job or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes like I feel that kind of pressure in it. Do you ever feel like the same kind of thing?
Definitely. Like for example, right now I have red hair, and I was thinking to apply for a job, and I was like, I can't go to that job with this red hair. They'll look at me and be like, that's not gonna bang. And I could say to them, oh, I'll change my hair to black tomorrow, but then why? Do you get what I mean? That's extra work for you. So yeah, I do feel the pressure, and then I remember how like stupid it is, like how much stress it's gonna cause me in the long run. So I might as well just keep plodding on.
Yeah.
I say that, but bills have to get paid. So yeah.
Well, yeah, we like to round off this episode by just asking, you know, a word of advice. What word of advice would you give to like your audience, or people selecting your audience here, but also just people that you feel like can relate to what you have to say, and just your experiences. Put you on the spot, right?
Yeah, you did. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, like, I recently wrote a blog post talking about loneliness, and like, that's like a big thing in my life because of like who I am and like not really fitting in and not doing the same things as my friends, and like I've just had to learn that you have to find yourself and who you are and be like comfortable in that before you can be that for anyone else. So yeah, I don't really have that much advice. Like, I usually just tell people to learn about themselves, and like just heighten your self-awareness, and like that will help you navigate the world better. Because my advice, I could give it to you and you'd be like, yeah, that's sick, and you go home anyway. Do you go, I mean, and do what you're doing. So yeah, learn about yourself.
Experience it firsthand.
Yeah, and keep the integrity going, man. So yeah. Thank you.
Love.
Hey, I don't trace, man. They don't look calm.